more of that today. Right now, 32 degrees. Goes up a little bit into the mid to upper 30s, but sometimes around rush hour, should start getting some showers and mixed with snow. And then over later in the evening, it will come down pretty hard. And it may not accumulate that much because as it hits, it'll be right around 34, 35 degrees. Much of it will melt. But just from the sheer volume, we may have some accumulation of 1 to 2 inches. And that actually might be more to the north of the city of Chicago. So right now, we're not looking for, we're looking for poor travel conditions, but maybe not that much accumulation. All right, so what else is going on? That is today, and then, hey, Lane, going to work out already. I listened to some copious Grateful Dead yesterday, and Lane and I are working on maybe putting together a little festival for the whole thing. I'll have some announcements for you. Why not? Why not add more? You know what I mean? So going forward, the rest of the week really doesn't get above about 43, 44 degrees. So kind of a chilly week. We had zipped up to 60 degrees there in February near the end, and then we thought maybe it was over, but it's not. You're going to find that out tonight. All right, weather brought to you by our good friends at Certified Electrician. Hey, check it out at CertifiedElectrician.com. If you need any work done, have a union-based electrical contractor do it for you. Taking a look at traffic, 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Barman I-65. They're all moving along pretty well. Traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda. Rocorhonia, Bahara. We are done with sectionals, and it was quite the week. Friday night was Miracle Night out at the Lake Central section when I was there, as in the first game, Morton got by East Chicago Central on a Chris Mingo layup right as the time was about to, right as the clock in the last final seconds. And then to top it, you didn't think that could be topped, and it was later in the evening as Chris Anderson for Lake Central hit a large looping three-pointer right at the buzzer to take Lake Central over Munster. And we caught all that on Facebook Live and on the radio. So, hey, what's up? Thanks for beeping. You ready? I'm a beeper, you're a beeper, beep, beep, beep. Tree, 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 tree. Hey, what's going on? Chevy driver. Thanks for seeing you again. Good seeing you. Nice baseball hat. I know that guy. I don't even never met him, I'm sure, but I know that guy. He's got a baseball hat on because he didn't want to, like, comb his hair or anything. And plus, he's balding. So once you start balding, you start wearing hats or bands or something like that. So you're just putting off the inevitable that eventually it's just going to be skin people looking at above your eyes. But, hey, it is what it is. Well, I started to talk about something, but I'm not altogether sure it was that important. Oh, yes. Sectionals are over. Miracle Night on Friday night. Then Saturday night games were a little more, I think, more one-sided as Lake Central took care of business over. Elpo and Maryville was probably the best game. And we had that courtesy of the Region Sports Network. And then we had Hammond High disposing of Gary Westside and Andrean, doing a pretty good job on Bishop Knoll. So 4 teams move on, all of them to the regionals. Thanks a lot to our presenting sponsor, Community Healthcare. And then thanks a lot also to BP, to NIPSCO. They also stepped forward in the 11th hour to help us get that done, as I put that deal together with the IHSAA kind of late. And we were able to get all the games on and stuff, but it was pretty big deal. I think at each spot there were probably 5 people at least. And when you have that many people to pay and all that, you got to buy some new equipment and stuff. So everybody stepped forward, and we appreciate it. Republic Services Waste, big truck. What else is happening in sports? We got to get Purdue did lose yesterday in Madison Square Garden to a team of destiny right now, and that is the Michigan Wolverines. They look better than Purdue. They look better than Michigan State yesterday, and they won the Big Ten tournament for 2 years in a row. Purdue hasn't won it since '09, and that was a little bit distressing yesterday, as you guys probably watched it or listened to it here on AM 1230 WJ. Now we got to wait a long time for the NCAA to start on March 18th, a Thursday. What is it, March 6th right now? Is that right? Yeah, so what is it, 12th? I mean, there's a long hiatus, and just the way it came out scheduling, we'll see if that helps or hurts the Big Ten teams going into the tournament. What about on the national stage? Hope Hicks gets rid of, leaves abruptly the Trump administration, and you know, I can't help start to think about where are we in history of Donald Trump's presidency. And one of the things that I did recently is I listened to a podcast called Slow Burn. And it took a long time for the Nixon investigation, or the investigations of Watergate, kind of take hold and take over Nixon. I mean, it took years. I think in 1972, there was a congressman who had been saying, hey, we got to look at this. And then he got kind of squashed by Nixon and pushed out of politics. And then one of the wives of one of the people in his administration was talking about it. And those people got killed. Not killed, but I mean, they just got squashed by very powerful people for saying, hey, we got to look at this. And but I don't even know if Donald Trump did anything or anybody in his administration did anything. But what was apparent during Watergate time, if you listen to Slow Burn or you read it, I studied it when I was in college in the 80s in Berkeley, and it was kind of a big topic in sociology and any of the political classes and so forth. And it was that President Nixon became increasingly isolated in the White House. And he wanted more and more people around him that I guess weren't long-time confidants and so forth. And that's what's going on with Trump right now, is that, so many people come and go. He's like picking people up off the street, and they're not like people he knows or really trusts. And that'd be a little bit worrisome. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But now, standing aside on Indianapolis Boulevard, it's time to get the region radio back in sync. We here at WJOB, as you can tell, we're giving all of our souls to high school basketball sectionals. We were out live at 4 nights last night, and that's that's like a 10-hour thing by the time you get everything together. You get there, hey, good to see you. So we are now back in the studios. I actually forgot my headset on my kitchen table, and I'll tell everyone I forgot. I had students out with us all week, and they helped out during the week, but on the weekend they were to do their midterm by announcing a full basketball game. So we set up a dummy broadcast booth, and for me at Lake Central on Friday was Jen Baker and Jay Coben, and they came out and they announced the East Chicago game. And so I took the little digital recorder home, and it gets up to a mixer, and it's just a little bitty thing, and I took it home to listen to it. And then the next night I went and grabbed something off the kitchen counter, and I put it in my pocket, and I went all the way out to Lake Central and got ready. We're here. Are you guys ready to announce your game? And I pulled it out of my pocket, and it wasn't the recorder at all. It was my television remote. So we had to make some adjustments very quickly. And, hey, you know what? All's well that ends well. All right, guys, I'm going to go inside, and we're going to get going with some radio. I'll take your phone calls, anything on your mind, 219-845. You can also text to that line. And then, of course, you can, in the Facebook feed there, you can make a comment, and we'll put that on. But however you want to communicate with me, I'm open. It's Monday. We're back in the saddle here. No sectionals or anything. Our concentration is right here on radio. And so I'm going to do some of that inside here on the voice and face of the region.
As the preacher once said, the best kept secret in Lake County, Spike's Lakeside Inn 2, restaurant and bar, Cherville, Indiana, serving seafood at its finest. Let and specials. Also a full sandwich and dinner menu. Homemade soups with full start. For your adult dining in a comfortable atmosphere, join us at Spike's Lakeside 2, located at 21 East Joliet Street, Cherville, Indiana, next to the police station, across from Town Hall. For reservations, call 322-4444. Serving Thursday through Sunday. Remember, 25% off your dining bill on Thursdays and Sundays. Follow us on Facebook. Hope to see you at Spike's Lakeside 2.
Injured in an accident that was not your fault? Get Gladish. Not only does he have over 20 years of experience, but Attorney Gladish is also a board-certified civil trial specialist by the National Board of Trial Advocacy, a member of both the best lawyers in America and Indiana Super Lawyers, and has achieved the highest possible peer review rating of AV by Martindale Humble. Let Attorney Gladish, along with his attorneys and staff, deal with the insurance company and its attorneys while you are putting your life back together. Call for a free consultation, 219-838-1900, or visit thegladishlaw.com. Attorney Gladish's office is located at 3235 45th Street in Highland, Indiana. Remember, insured, get Gladish. Experience, ratings, and certified count.
Hello, I'm Patrick O'Haver, athletic trainer at Highland High School. Athletic training is part of Community Healthcare System's sports medicine program. Our fellowship-trained, board-certified experts are ready to treat the athlete in you, whether it's pain or injury from activity on the court, in the field, or in your everyday life. We offer services and locations throughout Northwest Indiana. Visit our website to learn more at comhs.org/sports.
When you're in the dark, where do you turn to find a trusted professional who can assure the safety of your home or business electrical system? Certified Electrician is here to help. Looking for a highly skilled electrical contractor for your next construction project? CertifiedElectrician.com is where to find one. We connect you with pre-screened electrical professionals living right here in Northwest Indiana. Experts in residential, commercial, voice data video, and signage. Certified Electrician can fulfill all your electrical needs. Visit CertifiedElectrician.com.
I want to be like the pretty people on my TV.
Now you can.
All I need are gleaming white teeth.
We can help you.
Can you find the right dentist for me?
Dr. Andy Coulteritis, he does cosmetic dental.
Will he hurt me?
No, he's gentle.
I'm terrified of pain.
He's the kindest in the land.
He sounds great. Could you repeat his name?
Dr. Andy Coulteritis, 219-836-1111.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, everybody. 5:59 in the Calumet region. I'm Jim Tiedlow, host of JED in the region here on AM 1230, WJOB on 104.7 FM, the voice and face of the region. Let's take a look at what's going on in traffic. 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Barman I-65. Those are all moving along pretty well. I hope you guys are out driving somewhere, huh? And what do you have in terms of the weather right now? It's 32 degrees here at the WJOB studios, and it is 32 at Local 599 and 31 degrees at Certified Electrician, which is at 697 along I-65, and then at Local 395 of the Ironworkers, it's 31 degrees also. And you know what? It actually does get up into the right around 40, 41 degrees. Cloudy afternoon rain. And then a little evening snow around here as we get a wintry mix coming our way, and it gets down to a low of about 30, 31 degrees. Tomorrow, rain and snow. It's more rain than snow as it warms up to 42 degrees tomorrow. And then by Wednesday, all this stuff is just down to a mainly cloudy and just a little bit of a flurry, but it gets quite a bit colder as you get a high of 34 on Wednesday, and we get all the way down to about 20 degrees overnight. Thursday and Friday, to get some sun that comes out, but it's cold. It's highs in the mid-30s, so winter is upon us. Let me look at the monthly here, huh? Let's take a look here. When does next time it gets up to 60 degrees? For the entire month of March, there is not anything projected higher than 53 degrees, so good luck with that. As we are not out of winter yet, my friends. We're going to feel it tonight. How's that sound? Hey, weather is brought to you by our good friends at Laborers Local 41, of which I am a proud alum. What about the markets? You know, they were all over the place. They didn't really like tariffs. If you guys were watching what happened, and I watched the Sunday morning news shows, and it would be down on the Dow 55, but it took a big squat last week on the stock market after it was announced that President Trump was going to place a 25% tariff on all imported steel and a 10% for aluminum. And just following how it went down, the president was getting bad news on the Russian investigation, and he was getting bad news on Hope Hicks resigning. And so he just came out and did a redirection of all of a sudden without really discussing it, or, I guess he even surprised his own staff, and he just came out and said, we're going to put tariffs on. It just roiled the markets and some of our allies that Trump, I guess, spent a lot of time on the phone with some of our allies and trading partners. And so, you know what? You can say what you want about President Donald Trump, but it's not dull. And I appreciate that, because one day it's going to be dull again. If we get Mike Pence in there, I mean, you might as well put your own feet to sleep. Just sit on them until they go to sleep, because that's what it's going to feel like. It'll be worse than no drama Obama. Obama would go months without really making any news, partly out of fear, I think. Just kind of a tenderfoot. And then you've got Trump, who's just everywhere, man, all over the place. And every Sunday I sit down and watch Chuck Todd, and I'm like, I can't believe this is going on in our country, that it's just so erratic but interesting, and I don't discount that. At least we're paying attention. And it's maybe Todd Rokita, the guy who wants to be senator, went to St. Thomas More, grew up in Munster, went to Munster High here. Maybe he is taking a page out of, just kind of say stuff and see what happens. And according to Dan Carden out of the Times, and we got Dan today, right? We have Dan, yeah, he'll be calling. He says U.S. Rep. Todd Rokita declared in a Twitter post Friday that Gary is a sanctuary city, and he accused Gary Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson of ignoring state and federal law to harbor illegal immigrant criminals. Have you heard of anything about Gary harboring illegal immigrant criminals? I don't think I've done that news story. So Rokita has much better intel than we do. The four-term congressman, originally from Munster, is vying for Indiana's Republican Senate nomination. He provided no justification for his claims beyond a link to a news article detailing Gary's defense of its welcoming city ordinance. Now, that was in a lawsuit filed last year by a conservative attorney who has previously donated to Rokita's campaign. That attorney is James Bopp out of Terrible Hope, Indiana. Okay, now, they're saying that the Gary ordinance runs afoul of a 2011 Indiana law prohibiting sanctuary cities by mandating that local officials cooperate with federal authorities enforcing the nation's immigration laws. Now, the city says it is exercising its home rule right not to look into the immigration status of individuals interacting with city employees and so forth. It has not declared itself a sanctuary city and also has never failed to fully cooperate with federal immigration authorities. So who's right? Rokita or Gary, huh? Are they a sanctuary city or are they a welcoming city? I don't know. But what is interesting here is Todd Rokita has taken the Twitter page, and he has said controversial stuff. Let's see. Here's Karen Freeman Wilson, tweeter, backing to him, replying to him. A bit perplexed in light of our February conversation where we agreed that Gary is not a sanctuary city. It is a community that welcomes all law-abiding citizens and where you all stated that your legislative actions are not directed at me or Gary. Must be election time. Well, there it is. Rokita, who is an attorney, did not return a telephone message. He also did not respond to request to provide evidence that Gary is harboring illegal immigrant criminals. So, Rokita has reportedly emphasized immigration issues as well as his loyalty to President Donald Trump as he tries to win support from Indiana voters in a three-way race for the Republican U.S. Senate nomination. In his first television ad released this week, Rokita accuses liberal elites of supporting open borders and amnesty, while he pledges to build the wall and make English our official language. What happened to Todd Rokita? Now, Todd Rokita, I've known for a while here. He went to St. Thomas. He's pretty good friends with my sister. And one time I said something to him in an interview like, well, I think it was Representative. Yeah, Representative Rokita. It's, in your, you're being kind of, I don't know how I put it, but very conservative. You hit the very conservative line, and you are, it looks like you're not really that willing to work across the aisle. And he got kind of mad. He's like, well, what are you talking about? I'll work with anybody, and I want to be an open person to work across the aisle and get things done for the state of Indiana. I go, okay. Well, I misread your emails recently, so there you go, and I let him tell about it, but he got kind of mad about it. And now Todd Rokita is taking the entire Trump line and English as its own, as it is our own language, and I don't know. I guess that's I'm a little surprised that he's going that direction, kind of nipping at the bud of the immigration issue and making that such a central piece. I don't know why that is. I can't figure that out. And it's a little shift for the relatively mild-mannered Todd Rokita, but maybe the country demands it, and you need people like Todd Rokita to stand up to the Mexicans flowing across the border on a regular basis. You know what I mean? So someday one person is going to be able to say something that explains politics to me, but it has not happened yet. Monday, March 5th of 2018. What else is going on? And we're going to talk to Dan Carden here in just a little bit about what's going on downstate. But did anybody get out and buy some booze yesterday? You could buy it in Indiana for the first time, and I guess our first time in our 201-year history. You could go to the liquor store on Sunday and buy some liquor, or at least since Prohibition. And I was getting conflicting stats on when it became illegal to buy booze in Indiana on Sundays, but evidently it goes back a long way. And I went over to Strachan Van Til's, and Sam is going to play that video here in just a minute, the one where I went out to Strachan Van Til's. I was a little confused with all of the signals going on last week. I was a little confused about Sunday sales. I thought they had legalized that little leafy substance for sales only on Sundays, and it turns out it was just for beer and wine, and cold beer and wine at that. But it was, we got it straightened out, and then I went and walked around Strachan Van Til's. So, are you ready with that, my friend? Sam is not ready. When Sam gets ready with that, I'll tell you about that. In the meantime, he's ready? All right, let's hear it right now. And here it is. Yesterday at Strachan Van Til's, I was there, and this is how it went, buying some booze. All right, I'll get Sam's audio here in a second because I'm not getting it now. I got Augs up, and it's up working, so we'll fix that in just a moment. Sam will get it to us. I watch any moment my voice is going to come running onto that thing, but it's not right now. Sam, is there? Does it look like it should be working or no? And it's not, huh? Let's see. This is called a technical snafu, And no, you can't see it, huh? All right, well, we'll get to that in just a moment. On the other side of a break, Sam will fix it. At some point, I'll be talking, and my voice will just come running on me from yesterday. Hey, how about Wirt Emerson closing in Gary, the 2018 graduating class of Gary's Wirt Emerson School of Visual and Performing Arts will likely be the last. The state board charged with overseeing Gary's schools approved a plan Friday to shutter the 79-year-old school. Now, one of the anchors of the Miller community, the closing leaves Westside Leadership Academy as the lone traditional high school option for about 225 students that were over at Wirt Emerson. So let's see. Let's look at the high schools in Gary. So you've got Westside, not too far from where we're sitting right here, on Indianapolis Boulevard. West Side is on the west side of Gary, and then you just go across Hessville, and you would be right into the west side of Gary. So you have that, and then you have Gary Roosevelt. Now, what is it about Roosevelt was taken over by some sort of manager that I don't believe is a traditional high school at this point, right? So let's see. That is what somebody call me and tell me what's going on at Roosevelt, right? Well, there's no Horace Mann anymore. There's no Tolliston. There's no Frable. Let's see. Wirt Emerson. If we are talking about keeping the Gary Community School Corp up and running and going among all the charter schools we have, would make sense to have one school, and then that would be Gary Westside, I guess, huh? So Roosevelt is I forgot, is that closing or something's happening over there, right? Is Roosevelt still in existence, right? I mean, they had a basketball team. Think about it. We only covered 2 public schools this year, right? From Gary, Westside, and Roosevelt. No more Horace Mann, no more Lou Wallace, right? No more Lou Wallace. That's the one, right? There's no more. So, guys, think about all of. Hey, can you guys get me a notebook, by the way? Yeah. I want to write down all of the schools that. Here it is. I got it right here. My fault. All right. So let's write down all the high schools that have come and gone in Gary. All right. So right now we have Westside, and we have Roosevelt kind of hanging around. I don't know, but they're not considering it a standard school. Or maybe there's some sort of. I think it's a management company runs it. Now Wirt Emerson is closing. So what is Frable came and went. Emerson, Tolliston, Horace Mann. Let's see. Let me think of it. I think that's it, huh? 4 public high schools have closed. Frable, Emerson, Tolliston, Horace Mann, Lou Wallace. Yeah. So that's 5. So at one time there was 7 in Gary at the most. 7 public schools. Was Westside, Roosevelt, Frable, Emerson, Tolliston, Horace Mann, and Lou Wallace all on at the same time? Tolliston may have closed before Westside opened. Is that right? Or around the same time. Maybe they closed Tolliston to open Westside. So that's 7 schools here. Frable, gone. Emerson, gone. Tolliston, gone. Horace Mann, gone. And Lou Wallace, gone. We are now left with just Gary Westside in the Gary schools. And well, let's look at all of the other schools. All right, you got Roosevelt, which is kind of in the middle of public and private, I guess. Then you've got Bowman, and then you've got 21st Century, right? And then you've got Lighthouse, and then you have another one. What is it? There's one more. Charter school in Gary. What are you guys thinking of? You guys know what I'm talking about? Sam, you reffed all these games. You had to have done, let's see, Roosevelt, Bowman's, 21st Century, and Lighthouse. So I guess if you look at the transfer of academics in Gary is really what a lot of downstate people wanted, which is to break down the Gary School Corporation and its union, obviously, and see what happens. Wow, that's crazy. How many elementary schools? That would be another story altogether. Well, think about it. Gary was, what, up around, it's probably half its population, in its heyday. What is it, around 75,000? Maybe it was 150, maybe even more than that, maybe less than half of its population. Anyways, all right, guys, I'll be right back. AM 1230, WJOB in Hammond, Indiana. You want to be part of a study? You can do it.
Do you have or are you at high risk for cardiovascular disease, also known as CVD or heart disease? Are you unable to take statin medications due to side effects? You may be eligible for a clinical research study being conducted to test the safety and effectiveness of an investigational medication that may help to reduce the occurrence of major CVD events, such as heart attacks and strokes, for patients with or at risk for CVD who are also statin intolerant. To qualify, you must be at least 18 years of age, have a history of or are at high risk for CVD, have not been able to tolerate 2 or more statins, and meet additional study criteria. Qualified participants will receive all study medication and study-related care from a dedicated team of medical staff at no cost. Health insurance is not required to participate. To find out more and to see if you qualify, call Cardiovascular Research of Northwest Indiana, LLC at 219-203-1990. That's 219-203-1990. Call now. 219-203-1990.
I'm Barbara Gadarian Muckle, Executive Director of Excel to Fitness, Northwest Indiana. Excel to Fitness is a 6-week program serving boys 3rd through 6th grade. This program is for every boy. The 12-session curriculum creates an interactive experience using speed, strength, agility, balance, and cardio while embedding character through teamwork, leadership, and goal setting. Join Excel to Fitness this season at your school, church, or recreational center. Registration begins March 12th. Contact me at 219-595-XCEL or exceltofitness.com/Northwest Indiana.
Ironworkers Local 395, through their contractor employers, the Northwest Indiana Contractors Association, are the workers you see building Northwest Indiana. They are the craftsmen building your schools, hospitals, malls, steel mills, and manufacturing plants. They support local charities, including Tradewinds and Chasing Dreams, and they coach your kids after work and on the weekend. They live, work, and contribute to all of our local communities' economic growth. To find out more about these organizations, visit ironworkers395.com or nwicontractors.org.
Happy Monday morning, 6:19. What time is it? Time to go to Albert's. Let's take a look at what's happening in terms of traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Borman I-65. Around here, oh my God, I just looked out to the east, and I can't tell you how beautiful that is. Hey, is there any way, Ryan, to put this camera on the sunrise out there? It is just a glow. We've got a cloudy day coming our way, and this might be the only sunshine you see today, and that is out on the horizon, and it's slowly getting covered as the clouds move from west to east. But man, this has a nice look over some NIPSCO lines and over a garage. Oh, look at, there you go. You guys were able to get it. Thank you. And anyways, I started to tell you about traffic, but I once again stumbled over my own lack of attention. 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, maybe a little bit of a stumble at about 103rd for just a moment, but not too bad. Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Borman I-65. Hey, those are all moving along pretty well. It's a pretty easy travel day. Not a lot of bad weather. It could be a whole different story late today on the rush hour coming home and then into tomorrow morning. Traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana with superior customer service. Let's take a look at what's going on in terms of the weather. Cloudy, afternoon rain today, a high of 42. Right now it's 32 degrees here at the Strachan Van Til Studios. And it is, let's say, 31 degrees at Local 395 in Portage. That's Ironworkers. And then tonight we get a wintry mix. It might be enough to have a little bit of accumulation, but it's not going to last long. So it gets up to 42 degrees tomorrow. Tomorrow's mostly rain, a little bit of rain, with a little bit of snow. And then by Wednesday we're done with it, mainly cloudy. Get a little bit of morning snow possible, and then it moves out and just get a cloudy day to open up for Thursday and Friday when the sun comes out and gets kind of cold. There you go. Weather this morning is brought to you by our good friends at Community Healthcare, who were the presenting sponsors, or are the presenting sponsor of the Indiana High School basketball tournament, along with NIPSCO and with BP. And we appreciate all three of those for stepping forward. I was going to tell you something. Oh, yes. We did weather and we did traffic. The markets, after taking a big squat last week because of tariffs, are down about 61 overnight on the Dow. All right. Sunday, alcohol sales. Oh, by the way, I forgot one Gary High School. Let me see if anybody put that on here. Gary Wirt. There you go. The media never covered Obama. Your first mistake is watching Chuck Todd. Why is my first mistake watching Chuck Todd? I've been watching that since college off and on. It's Meet the Press, man. That's the longest running show in television history. Why is that a mistake? Somebody who's going on about that got to call me and tell me what it is. Don't just text it. What's wrong with Meet the Press? I want to know. Oh, my God. Look at this. Hey, here, I'm going to send you an email of a picture of downtown Crown Point right now. Dave from Crown Point sent this to me. And, Sam, I'll just email it to your email. Is that okay? Yeah, and then he's going to put it up on the screen because this is magical. And I don't know how that the way that the light is. 5, 4. All right, hold on. Not yet. Not yet. There you go. This is a magical thing, and I'll get it to you guys after we hear this. But yesterday, of course, was the beginning of alcohol sales. And I wanted to be the first one, or Ryan wanted me to be the first one out at Strachan Van Til's. And it was a lot of fun. I went out there and was just kind of joshing with people. I was having fun standing in the booze aisle, and people were coming up, and they were touching the beer and the wine, and they were going to put it in their cart. And I kept telling them, hey, you can't touch it till noon. And that was, I don't think that's true, although they can't buy it until noon. And they were, everybody just left the aisle, and then they all came back at noon. And I'm like, you know what? You're the radio guy. You can do what you want. You can also do little videos that have you can have a lot of fun. So right now, I was out at Strachan Tills. Let's hear it and see it on the voice and face of the region.
Hey, everybody, it's Jim Delo, AM 1230, WJOB on 104.7 FM. Also on Facebook Live right now, and I got to tell you, we've been really busy this week. Thank everybody. We've had almost 100,000 views of high school sectional basketball action, and I have been so busy I haven't really been following the news. So my wife said, hey, you got to get up and go over to Strachan Van Til's. They're one of your biggest sponsors because they're having Sunday sale. And I'm like, Sunday sales? I hadn't even been following it on the news. I didn't even know they legalized any of it. I mean, medicinal use might have been okay, but you can only buy it in Sundays in Indiana. That's genius. It's beer. So I got some glasses on. It says organic on it. And then just in case I brought a bag of Cheetos, and I wanted to be the first one to be in Sunday sales.
It's alcohol, Jim.
It's alcohol? I mean, it's not Sunday. Okay, well, like I said, I've been very busy with high school basketball sectionals. Did 6 games, just crazy endings, and I'm so sorry. Well, if it's then maybe I'll just get some beer. How's that? How about Bud Light? Does that sound pretty good? And as we're walking up to the register, I am going to be the first person to do this. Let's see if we can run into anybody special. Sir, what are you doing here?
Looking for the beer that I like, and I'm glad that Prohibition ended in Indiana. So now we're back, no more skeezies. So now we're off probation after 100 years.
Al, it's been Al. You know, Al's a long time on the show, and I appreciate that, Al. You know, once in a while you get like a Super Bowl, somebody stops over. It's hassle not to be able to buy beer.
Yes, and it's nice to come to Indiana instead of going across state line, buying some beer. We can benefit from this.
Well, the guy who's the charge here, thanks a lot, Al. Al's also a Teamster. That makes him even better. The man who runs the whole place here and owns a lot of this stuff is Jeff Strack. Jeff, in all seriousness, it came upon us. Holcomb signed it on Wednesday. Here we are on Sunday selling beer. Were you prepared?
Well, we knew that there was this year there was a good chance that this was going to pass, and we've never been out on the front lines pushing for it, but kind of distributors have been pushing for it, and we've kind of taken a back seat, and obviously we're looking forward to Sunday sales.
It's been funny because we've had a number in the aisle here and up here, and I keep telling them, can't touch it till noon. Can't touch it till noon. So they've gone off and bought milk, sour cream and all that stuff. But I'm going to be the first one here. Jeff's going to come with me, and I'll buy the first six-pack in the chain of stores here at Strachan Van Til, and I'm going to do it right at noon. And they have actually cleared out one of the aisles here. And there's, hey, what's going on? How are you guys? Everybody, it's a big day. You know, here it is. Big day. Are you? Big, all right. They wanted to be first, and that's too bad. Because I'm. All right, is it noon yet? It's noon right now. Here it is, noon. The first six bought at Strachan Van Til. Birthday. Oh, you got it. Oh, hold on a second. I'm 21. Here it is, right here. I'm gonna go with. You're going to put the exact birth. Don't tell everybody what it is out loud. But once again, Al's right behind me, Team 42. Thanks a lot to Al. He's having millions. And my first purchase is my favorite, Bud Light, in honor of my friends at the Kiernans who have there. No, I'm gonna do it with cash. So in case my card doesn't work, that would be really embarrassing in the line here. Here you go. I thought we'd do it with cash.
All right,
from $20. You have no idea, and I blogged about this. I know Al's been doing the same thing. You're waiting over there at an Illinois liquor store when you're in your younger days for it to open. Some of them open at noon. So the news is that here in Indiana, you can. Yay! There it is. It's been done. Oh, that's all right. We'll let it there. Beer at Strachan Van Til and wine, and I'm getting the checkout guy is Jeff Strack. And Jeff, you see all these people in line right now buying beer and wine. It's just a different feel. You know?
Yeah, this is going to be different, but we're looking forward to it.
All right. Is that how to do it? I got my six-pack. I was told by my wife that I had to give it to Jimmy Mullaney, our cameraman, for coming out. But that's not going to take it home. I do want to offer a couple of details. It was on Wednesday that Governor Holcomb signed pretty much a bipartisan deal from the state legislature, both Democrats and Republicans coming together on this. Holcomb signed it on Wednesday, and here we are on Sunday. There's one caveat, if we go on, in that you cannot buy cold beer at grocery stores and box stores. It was kind of I guess, a compromise between small liquor store owners and some of the larger stores. But, you know, that's not really that big a deal. It'll be cold in about half an hour.
Yeah, that's true, and it's a first step, being able to sell Sunday. So we'll see what happens down the road, and maybe we'll be able to sell cold beer.
It was Sunday sales I thought it was going to be, but hey, you know what? I got my Bud Light. I'm AM 1230 WJOB 104.7. Also on Facebook Live, the voice and face of the region.
Yesterday, and it was a lot of fun just messing around with people and hanging out at that was at the Strachan Van Til at Klein Avenue and 45th. Actually, the original one together when Ernie Strack and the Van Til family got together, formed this coalition that's still gone today, and actually saved the whole, basically saved the whole chain of stores, around 4,000 jobs. All right, what do you guys think? Did anybody go out and buy booze yesterday just for the heck of it? Buy some beer? Or is it not that big of a deal? I get the feeling that it's not that big of a deal until it needs to be a big deal. In other words, it's not big of a deal for you until all of a sudden somebody's over, or you forgot that you're having you're having a little celebration for somebody's birthday, and man, I don't have any beer, and you're like, oh, I got to drive all the way over to Santori's or one of these Illinois liquors, and for me personally, to go to one of those, is it just makes you feel a little bit dirty. Reminds me of going to youth days, waiting inside there on Sunday mornings for them to open because you couldn't buy it in Indiana and the bars didn't open until noon, or the restaurants didn't open until noon. The bars would be closed on Sunday back in the day. So, anyways, I hated going to Illinois. Part of it is giving them my money on top of that. That gets you. That'll get you every time. Hey, we're going to do some sports with Ryan Walsh, and we're going to hear Nick Anderson's miracle shot. Sam's going to line up, and we'll hear that in just a minute, but I do want to do a few news items. Did you guys notice that in the Times had moved a guy by the name of Joe Battistoni? Joe is I know the guy through Rich Christakis out at Alsip Home and Nursery, and Joey is going to be the new GM for the Times for here. And I don't know how it necessarily, usually it's publisher than editor. So I guess the publisher would be Chris White at the Times. The editor would be Mark Chase. And the GM is Joey Battistoni. As a matter of fact, you know what? That's a pretty good leadership team got going there. And what exactly direction they're going to take it, my guess is with Battistoni at the top, they will be going heavily on digital media because that's kind of his thing. I think he was with the Tribune for a while. Then he came down and he's back at the Times for, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years now. All right. Ryan Walsh and I with sports right after this on AM 1230 WJOB.
You know, I enjoy watching basketball at home, but I think we should go over to Johnny's Tap in Munster for drinks and fun.
Yeah, I like going to Johnny's Tap.
Speaking of fun, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. and Mrs. Fun. Mr. Who and Mrs. Who? Mr. and Mrs. Fun, but they're at Johnny's Tap. Okay, I'll see you there at the corner of Broadmoor and Calumet Avenue.
Yeah, I like going to Johnny's Tap.
Johnny's Tap. New ownership, now smoke-free, and still the home of Mr. and Mrs. Fun.
A real neighborhood type of place.
Rush Radiosurgery deploys revolutionary technology in the fight against prostate cancer in just 5 outpatient treatments. With radiosurgery treatment for prostate cancer, there is no pain, no surgery, and you can go back to your normal activities right after treatment. Prostate cancer does not fight fair, and neither should you. For more information, contact Rush Radiosurgery at 312-942-4600 or visit us at rushradiosurgery.com.
No case is typical. Results will vary by patient, and there's no guarantee other patients will experience these results.
What gets you fired up when you think about college? Explore your roar at Purdue University Northwest. With 2 exciting campuses in Hammond and Westville, more than 70 areas of study, and NCAA Division II athletics, Purdue Northwest offers it all at an excellent value. Learn more at pnw.edu and apply today. That's pnw.edu. Join the pride at Purdue Northwest.
Good morning, everybody. AM 1230 WJOB in Hammond, Indiana, 634 in the Calumet region. What time is it? Time to go to Albert's. Traffic is really non-existent right now. 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford's got a little bit of a break tapper, 111th to 103rd. Let's see. Dan Ryan's not too bad. Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65 are all moving along pretty well. Traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda. What do you have in terms of the weather today? A high of 42 with some afternoon rain turning into a wintry mix overnight. And into tomorrow, you got a little rain and snow, a high of 42 both days. We'll keep an eye on that. It looks like it's after rush hour, but Harlow will be here. And we finished with the Big Ten tournament, which kind of took over programming here last week. Not only did we have the high school sectionals where we were out every night, just about. We also had the Big Ten tournament on the air, so it was a big basketball week, and now we're just kind of coming back and getting into a normal stride. A high of 42 today, tomorrow, and then by the end of the week, it gets quite a bit cooler as you get highs in the 30s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The moisture and the precipitation should kind of end about Wednesday morning, so it'll be off and on for the next couple of days, about maybe about 36 hours, starting tonight and ending Wednesday morning. Kind of grayish, and you get a little flurries, get a little rain, and then it'll subside for a while, and then you get a little bit more. But no major accumulation. Why don't we just go straight into weather, because that was brought to you by our good friends at Carpenter's Local 599. Ryan Walsh is with us. He's been working pretty heavily working pretty hard lately, as we were everywhere with high school sectionals last week. Ryan, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How about you?
Same as ever. We are done. We made it through. It was
a lot of fun.
It was a lot of work. As for the very first time, we did all the games in video, and it's about 5 to 7 times more work to do a video game versus a radio game, is my guess. And I want to give a special kudos to Ben Cowart, Jimmy Mullaney, and Christina Cortez, because they were the main producers for the 3 sites that we did. Region Sports had their own guys out at Chesterton as Valparaiso won that sectional. And how's it feel? We pulled it off. It's over. I feel like I got a little hangover from it.
I'll be sleeping a lot this week. Got a little bit of a break because the Big Ten tournament was the same week as the high school tournament, so not much going on this week. And then next week, the NCAA tournament gets going.
All right, Ryan Walsh, what do we have in sports?
Well, we will recap the sectional championships first here, as the sports update's brought to you by Johnny's Tap. It's Mix It Monday, and Texas Hold'em starts at 7 o'clock sharp. At 4A, from Lake Central, the Indians advanced to regionals with a 75-46 victory over Hammond Morton. Jack Davis leads the Indians with 19 points. At the Chesterton sectional, it's Valparaiso taking the crown by sneaking out a 46-43 triumph over Maryville. Brendan Newman pours in 26 for the Vikings. 3A sectionals, this one's from the Hammond Civic Center. Hammond High beats Gary Westside 52-40. Amari Young leads the Wildcats with 16 points. Calumet from Twin Lakes takes out the 2017 Class 3A runner-up Twin Lakes in a 53-39 conquest. Davion Davis puts up 26 for the Warriors in the win. 2A sectionals, Andrean takes Bishop Noel Institute down twice in 8 days with a 75-52 rout. Kyle Ross leads all scorers with 21 points. 1A sectionals, Gary 21st Century, sectional drops Westville 81-37. DeAndre Golston achieves a double-double with 27 points and 14 rebounds. NJCAA basketball last night, South Suburban College reaches the regional final with a 57-51 win over Wabansie. The Bulldogs play Morton College at 7:30 on Saturday night for the regional final. NCAA wrestling notes, Michigan wrestler Stevan Micic from Hanover Central is the Big Ten champion at 133 pounds. And Arizona State wrestler, Crown Point native Jason Surtzis is a Pac-12 champion at 149 pounds. We had 2 basketball games on WJOB yesterday for conference championships. In the Big South Championship, Radford drops Liberty at the buzzer with a 3-pointer to get an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. And Michigan wins their second Big Ten conference tournament in a row by beating Purdue 75-66. Here's what we have for regionals next week. 4A for Michigan City. The 10 o'clock game is Valparaiso and Elkhart Central, followed by Lake Central, South Bend Riley at noon. From LaPorte, in 3A, Culver Academies gets Hammond High at 10. Calumet faces West Lafayette at noon. From North Judson St. Pierre for 2A, Andrean has Marquette Catholic at the 10 o'clock time. And Westview, Fort Wayne Canterbury play at noon. 1A from Culver Community, Gary 21st Century against Elkhart Central at 10. And then Covenant Christian plays Fort Wayne Blackhawk at noon.
A lot of stuff on there. So Calumet and Hammond High are playing in that one. Where's that, North Judson?
That's LaPorte.
LaPorte. And then North Judson has Andrean. So, you know what? It's not all that surprising who came out of the sectionals.
I would say Valparaiso over Maryville's a surprise. A lot of people were picking Maryville or Chesterton to win that sectional. I mean, there's a lot of praise and kudos going and people watching Brandon Newman, but overall team basketball, it seems like Chesterton and Maryville. But Chesterton came into the sectional injured, and Maryville, they shut down Johnny Bernard in the final. Valparaiso held him to 10 points.
So Valpo may be a little bit of an upset. Lake Central is certainly not an upset at their own sectional. Hammond High wasn't at theirs. and then Drain coming out of the Whiting sectional. That's not surprising there at all. So Calumet winning, that's kind of nice. They're down in Twin Lakes, so we really don't get a lot of exposure to them. What is that, 3A?
Yeah, 3A.
Couldn't put them in Hammond High? What is up with that?
Yeah, them and Wheeler had to travel 50-some miles.
The Twin Lakes, yeah. So going forward, we don't have any Purdue until March 18th or 19th, depending, man. That's crazy stuff. That's a long way from now.
Yeah, we're going to have a couple of conference tournaments coming up here from Westwood 1, and one of them is tonight. We're going to have the Southern Conference Championship. That's going to be for North Carolina, Greensboro against Eastern Tennessee State. It's going to be at 7:45 pregame show, 8 o'clock tip-off. And then tomorrow night we'll get the West Coast Conference Championship, and I would imagine that will be Gonzaga versus somebody. That's going to be an 8 o'clock game as well.
All right, so we'll keep it going, and part of that is I know you guys want basketball, and then also to keep spots playing for our many sponsors. Ryan, people stepped up pretty well for the high school basketball to get on the video. It's a new day. Many people thanked us profusely for putting the games on video that couldn't make it out. Hopefully, it kind of raised the profile of high school basketball too to have it on video. We were looking for a certain number. Are we getting any close? Are we getting close?
Well, I think the goal was around 100,000 for sectionals and regionals, and we're pretty close to getting that total just from the sectionals from the week.
Yeah, so we're getting close. If you guys want to watch any of those games, you're not doing anything. Just put it on your computer at work, and you'll be able to watch some of them. All right, anything else?
Well, tonight, John Pagani and I will be here at 6 o'clock with the NCAA Insider, 6 to 7:30, and we'll roll into that pregame coverage for the conference tournaments. We'll have conference tournament championship tonight, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and then Saturday night if none of our local teams get to the regional finals, we'll have 2 conference tournament championships, but we'll have at least one. If nobody makes it out of the morning sessions, we'll have the Big East Championship and then the Pac-12 Championship, but we'll have the Pac-12 Championship Saturday night for sure. So we're going to have basketball all week long on the college level. It's not the Big Ten, but it's going to be teams playing and with a lot of pride trying to get into the NCAA tournament. And congratulations to Loyola. They won their Missouri Valley Conference tournament yesterday, and they're going to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 1985. And your brother-in-law is pumping his chest out.
Yeah, Loyola did it, and not only did they win it, they won it in convincing fashion last night over Illinois State. Hawks didn't look all that good yesterday. They looked actually kind of bad. But they did have a good comeback win over the weekend. And Tate's got in a fight. See that?
Yeah, it's tanking season for Chicago sports right now. Hopefully the Chicago Cubs will lead us to a great baseball season and a lot of happiness. But White Sox, they're looking at maybe signing a big free agent to boost these young guys. We'll see what happens. A lot of free agents out there on the market still. Jake Arrieta is one of them.
And we'll see. So, Ryan, thanks so much. We've got Dan Carden calling in from Indianapolis. We're going to talk a little bit of legislative stuff. Anything else on the sports scene?
That's it for sports. Brought to you by Johnny's Tap in Munster. Smoke free now.
All right, guys. Let's go to Dan Carden calling in from Indianapolis on local 599 phone line. Dan, how are you, man?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Sunday sales are in. What was the reaction down in Indy?
Well, the governor was the first person in line at a liquor store in downtown Indianapolis, where he ended up buying some beer made by Three Floyds in Munster. So he was, representing the entire state there, and it was, it was a very popular decision. A lot of places here had lines, people wanting to be, the first to buy on a Sunday, people saving their receipts because of the historical nature of it. The first time in state history that you can buy alcohol to take home on a Sunday. So it was a pretty big deal for something that a lot of people think was long overdue.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Indiana was the only state in the country that had a total statewide ban on all retail alcohol sales, beer, wine, and liquor. Some states ban liquor on Sundays. Some states have dry counties. But Indiana was the only state that banned everything on Sundays. When the debate finally happened in the General Assembly, after years of liquor stores and grocery stores and other stores fighting it out or trying to kill the measure, there really was no debate. Nobody could really justify why Indiana was doing this other than this is what Indiana has always done, which most of the time in the State House, that's good enough to keep things the way they are. But at this point, there's enough consumer demand. There's enough people working odd hours. There's enough people, Sunday is the second busiest shopping day for grocery stores of the week. So I think everybody kind of realized that, the standards that were put in place in 1816 regarding what to do on a Sunday aren't exactly relevant to 2018.
He's Dan Carden. You can read him in the NWI Times. He covers the State House for the Times. Dan, what do we got, another week or two? How much longer on the legislative
about
session?
10 days. March 14th is the day they are required by law to adjourn. Usually they try to get out early. I don't think they'll be able to this year. There's a lot of stuff moving that's been amended, so things have passed both the House and the Senate, but they have to be agreed to. It was changed along the way, and for a bill to go to the governor, it has to pass both chambers with the identical language. So there's a lot of work to do in the week ahead for a lot of bills that they need to be agreed to by both chambers to advance. So there's a pretty good chance that a lot of stuff that's moving will probably die, but I have a feeling we're probably going to go right up until the end on the 14th, trying to get everything done.
What is getting attention right now?
It's really kind of all over the place. So there were a bunch of gun bills that ended up getting killed on Thursday because they didn't want to have the same kind of gun debate that just played out in Florida, where everybody puts their favorite amendment up on the bill and sees what happens to it. So there were plans to get rid of gun licenses altogether. There were plans to ban assault rifles. There were plans to ban bump stocks. And the legislative leaders decided we're not going to do any of this. We're just going to wait and see what happens with guns, at the national level and see where we are maybe next year. So that got killed. The governor's top priority has been workforce development. It's been a really kind of under the radar thing all session because nobody really knows what the governor wants out of workforce development or how to give it to him. And the legislature doesn't want to spend any money. So they're working on all these, they call them structures, that they're creating all these offices and plans that maybe they will fund next year when it's a budget year. But right now it's all just sort of pie in the sky stuff. And then there's like a million different little bills that are just, winding their way through. You saw the thing with the lake sand on Lake Michigan, that sand that would be dredged from around lake structures would have to go on the beach. And that's going to be a huge thing for Porter County. But it's just, it's similar to this whole session. It's just sort of like little things that matter to small groups of people that may make a big difference in those places. But there really hasn't been this kind of overarching, road funding thing or budget thing that we've seen in previous years.
Dan Carden, you wrote an article on Saturday that appeared in Saturday's Times where Todd Rokita, who's running for Senate, is calling out Gary for harboring illegal immigrant criminals.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused, honestly.
As was I. That's why I reached out to him, but he never called me back.
So, I mean, obviously Gary has been a big proponent of this civility. The Chamber of Commerce has pushed that pretty heavily, and they want to be known as a welcoming city, I think Whiting is also a welcoming city. I wasn't really reading that as part of immigration, but others are. I mean, is there something legal that I'm missing here?
Well, it's tangentially related. So part of the welcoming city ordinance that these communities have passed directs city employees who are interacting with the public not to ask about immigration status. And especially for a police officer, this could be a big issue. If you're, let's say, an illegal immigrant who's being abused by your husband, you don't want to be the city is saying we don't want you to be afraid to call the police to have your husband arrested for beating you because you think you're going to get deported. So the policy in these cities is we're not going to ask. If you're just, interacting with the city, doing your normal business. I mean, immigration enforcement is not a municipal issue, so their policy is they don't ask. And Indiana has a law banning sanctuary cities, and in the law it says that the cities cannot refuse to cooperate with federal immigration authorities. There's a kind of a conservative attorney from Terre Haute who's trying to roll back these sanctuary city laws nationwide, and he thinks Gary is going to be a great example of this. And he is suing under Indiana's sanctuary city law, claiming that Gary's policy of not asking about immigration status is the same as refusing to cooperate with the federal government. Now, anybody who knows what's been going on in Gary knows that's probably not the case, because Gary has the Gary Airport, which is owned by the city, has been used by the feds to deport a whole lot of people in the last few months. And the Gary police have kept protesters away from those flights, making sure that they get off. So it's hard to claim that Gary's refusing to cooperate with the federal government when Gary is the last place a lot of immigrants see before they get shipped back to their home countries. So it's an interesting case. I mean, the case is pending in court in Lake County. So it's kind of bold of Todd Rokita to come out, or you may say uninformed as well, to come out and say, that Gary's a sanctuary city when there's a lawsuit pending to decide whether or not Gary's a sanctuary city. The mayor of Gary, Karen Freeman Wilson, says Gary is absolutely not a sanctuary city. And, she knows something about the law, being the former attorney general of Indiana. So it's one of those things. I mean, I don't think Todd Rokita was expecting to get a lot of Republican primary votes out of Gary, but for a Munster guy to be ripping on a fellow Northwest Indiana community in a way that's not exactly civil doesn't really jive with what's been going on in the region lately.
He's Dan Carden, never shy to hold back. Dan, thanks for calling today. I'm going to cut it just a little bit short because I have to go to the washroom. How's that sound? You know what? This is local region radio. We could talk like that. They would never do that to you in Indianapolis. Hey, Dan, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
You got it.
Talk to you. All right, guys, I'll be right back.
Laborers Local 41, together with Indiana Laborers Training Center and our signatory employers, provide state-of-the-art instruction in all areas of the construction industry, from hazardous material handling and environmental remediation to road construction and highway safety. Remember to slow down in construction zones, and that the Local 41 members working there are mothers, fathers, coaches, and mentors. Laborers Local 41. We build Indiana in more ways than one.
The Greens scheduled a no-cost home energy assessment with NIPSCO, who helped them install a new shower head and insulated their pipes.
Turning our to-do list into a to-done list.
They also got money back on a high-efficiency furnace, plus $50 when NIPSCO picked up their old working fridge.
We get money for home upgrades, and I don't have to haul out the old fridge? Man, they really are saving me energy.
Go to nipsco.com/save and see what you can do to save energy and money.
Do you have a family history of heart disease or diabetes? St. Catherine Hospital Cardiovascular Prevention Center providers are offering free assessments to help determine your risk for heart disease and other related medical conditions. On Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 9 to 11:30 a.m., you can stop by the center at 7217 Indianapolis Boulevard in Hammond for assessments like an ABI leg circulation test, blood pressure, body mass index, random glucose assessment, and more. You must be 18 or older, and walk-ins are welcome. You have only one body. Let St. Catherine Hospital of Community Healthcare System help you take care of it. You can also call 219-392-7CVP to book an appointment today.
Did you know that Hammond, Indiana is having their first annual St. Patrick's Day Parade on March 17th at 1 p.m.? The parade route extends from 173rd Street in Kennedy to 161st Street. Please join us. We are going green, and don't forget to stop in at Freddy's Steakhouse, located at 6442 Kennedy Avenue on the corner of 165th Street, for a special appearance of the Shriners Pipes and Drums at 4 p.m. Stay for dinner. We'll be serving corned beef and cabbage and green beer. For more information, please call call Freddy Steakhouse 219-844-1500. Hammond's St. Patrick's Day Parade on March 17th.
For generations, you've trusted Edgewater Systems to provide compassionate, high-quality care. As the science of behavioral health has evolved, it's revealed the important connection between physical and behavioral. With this in mind, we're pleased to introduce Edgewater Health, which includes primary care, in addition to our long-standing mental health and addiction services. Whichever combination of services you need, Edgewater Health is here for you for your whole life. Learn more at edgewaterhealth.org.
This is Kevin Smith from Bishopville Hockey, and you are listening to WJOB AM 1230 and FM 104.7 in Hammond, Indiana.
This is not an ad to sell or promote a product. This is a reminder that you can find our sports schedule at WJOB1230.com/sports.
This is Benton Marshall Wood, and I would just like to say R.I.P. Harambe, and you are listening to WJOB 1230 AM and 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana, the voice of the region.
Carpenters Local 599 joins with other Carpenter locals to build the local economy and has been doing so for over 117 years. We are proud to be a member of the Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio Regional Council of Carpenters, which is threefold: training, professionalism, and partnership. We also offer some of the best benefits in the industry. To find out how to become a member of Carpenters Local 599, contact us at 219-942-0518 or log on to ikorcc.com.
We made it. Sorry about that frankness, but I started that interview going, we'll be all right. And then I realized we weren't all right, and just stuff happens. And you just got to roll with it. Hey, it's 6:59 in the Calumet region. I'm Jim Diedlow, host of JED in the region, hanging out with you guys on a Monday morning. Billy Baker on his way in today, and we'll see Baker in just a little bit. But traffic is 294 around the city, looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, a little trouble at the merge, but nothing big. And then I would say 103rd up until, say, 95th on the Dan Ryan. That's where your merge problem is. What do you have in terms of the Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65, US 30, Klein Avenue? Those are all moving along pretty well. And traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana with superior customer service. Taking a look at weather, it's really kind of... Did you get the both of the pictures I sent you, Sam? I sent you two pictures. Mike Whalen sent me one, and Dave from Crown Point. I'd love to see those on the screen for people on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube video. And there one is of Crown Point, and then the other one is just a beautiful kind of a sunrise. That's gone away. I told you guys the only sun you really might see today was right on the horizon at sunrise, and because there's so many clouds around, it just had just an eerily beautiful feeling to it. And Sam's going to flash up the Crown Point Courthouse as Dave, who you wouldn't think, Dave from Crown Point, whom you wouldn't necessarily think of as an admirer of beauty, came up with just a fantastic piece. Are we going to be able to get that up there? I can't. Oh, I don't get to see it. Oh, darn it. Well, anyways, it's up there right now. And then can you rotate Whalen's picture in there too? Yeah, and it just had some beautiful skies this morning. High of 42 today. Oh, there it is. High of 42 today, cloudy afternoon rain. And then tomorrow, or Tuesday, showers and rain and snow. Wow. If you guys are watching, that is amazing look. The way that the sun was hitting the courthouse. That it really is just beautiful. And then there's Waylon's picture of, I don't know, where does that look like? It looks like a, where? White Oak and, let's see, White Oak. What would White Oak? Oh, White, I don't know, Ryan, where is that? It's somewhere in Munster, it looks like. White Oak and a big stoplight. Where's there a stoplight? Oh, White Oak and 45th. That's what that is. All right. Where'd we go? I was going to give you the weather. Maybe some wintry mix this afternoon or evening going into tomorrow, and then off and on some rain and snow tomorrow, and then a little bit on Wednesday morning. And then it gets a little colder and sunnier by Thursday and Friday. That's kind of your general progression of weather. Brought to you by our good friends at Laborers 41, of which I am a proud alum. Toot, toot, tootly, toot, toot, toot. And your market is down 55 on the Dow. It was a big week last week, and I've got a text here that says too much basketball talk. You know, I get that, and I understand that we are, we are basically charged with covering high school basketball and Purdue and IU basketball here in South Suburban. And that's a little bit much for people. And I get that. And the 219 guy or woman who just texted in, too much basketball talk. All right, I get it. But it's not very long. High school basketball sectionals kind of takes over WJOB for a week. And I'll be straight, in the last few years, it really hasn't been that big of a deal because it just seemed like interest was waning in it. And we were having trouble getting sponsors for it on the radio. We took it to video this year on your phones, and the whole Red Sea parted in terms of interest and people talking to us about watching the games. And I think we're at about 90,000 views on the whole thing of high school basketball last week. So that shows you that there is an interest. But every once in a while, you catch a perfect moment. And this perfect moment came at the detriment to my alma mater. And here it is. This is Munster and Lake Central with, I don't know, about 6 seconds left. Let me just set this up a second. Nick Anderson is the son of Kevin Anderson. He's a year younger than I am, and we played high school basketball together. And Kevin has been fighting cancer and then the effects of aggressive chemotherapy and radiation, and he's walking around with a cane. And quite frankly, he and Faith Marcinek, he married Marcinik's daughter, are they're facing a lot of issues. And he's on his way back, Kevin is. He's starting to get mobility and so forth, but he it was kind of a part of the story that you have to know, because Nick Anderson is a sophomore for Dave Malosnik's team, and it was tied, and Nick Anderson was in the game with another sophomore, Derek Hobbs. So it was two sophomores that wound up beating Munster, and here it is. Let's hear it. Gets it in. He gets it to Hobbs in the backcourt.
He's going to tell him to foul.
6 seconds left. 5-4. That's not good. All right. Sam set that up, and then it buffered on us. Facebook Sam's going to set it up again. You got to hear the ending of this as Nick Anderson gets the ball in the corner, and we will hear this in just a second. Will we, Sam, or not? I guess not, huh? 1 second. He's rebooting it, and when we get it up, but every once in a while you catch the perfect moment of Hoosier hysteria, and I believe this moment was it on Friday night. It was actually the second perfect moment at the end of a game as Chris Mingo hit a shot to lift Morton over East Chicago Central. Morton has its own story. It's actually related to Marcinek. But Morton was coached by Robert Hall, who died in the middle of the season. and Scott Lush took over. In a corollary, Morton has not won a sectional. Still, they didn't win on Saturday, but they did get past Friday, East Chicago Central, and they haven't won a sectional since 1976. And in all irony, the coach of that 76 team was Russ Marcinek, whose grandson hit the winning shot in the next game. All right, let's hear it. Take it, Sam.
He's going to call him the foul.
6 seconds left. 5-4. Hobbs is going to dribble in. He's going to get it to Anderson. Long three is good. He wins it. Anderson hits it at the buzzer, and he rolls into the first row. Lake Central fans storm the floor. No time left. Game over. Lake Central Morton tomorrow night at the Lake Central Sectional.
I'm looking over at Mr. Anderson in disbelief. His son, the sophomore, goes to the coffin corner. I told you that's where he likes to shoot the ball. He got it. Munster had a foul to give.
So there you
Mr.
go.
Anderson.
You catch the right moment once in a while, and there it is. It all adds up. I mean, it's not like it's just basketball and it's not part of real life. These are real life stories. And there you go. Let's see. Too much talk about basketball. And there you go. Oh, here's another one. Too much talk about yourself. Brag, brag, brag. It gets old. Well, I'll tell you what. The phone lines are open right now, pal. Go ahead. Every minute of basketball talk is one less minute of Mad Mac, MX, and Walt. So thank you. And then here's another one. It's a refreshing 3-week break from all of the corruption. It is what it is. Here's another text that has come in. And you guys are texting fools today. Have you never heard of the liberal media? And remember when the tax plan was passed and the liberals said it was Armageddon and was called crumbs from Nancy Pelosi? I can go on and on. The Democrats have no plan and can only bash Trump's great achievements. Is that my dad? Anyways, I don't know who that was. What else we have? Here's my new boat, Jim. Can we put a picture up of Bill's boat? Bill bought a new boat, and it is a tracker. And he said he was going to buy it over the weekend, and he bought it. He looks very proud of his boat sitting there. All right, guys, what's going on in your world? 219-845-1100. The big news, a lot of conversation yesterday on alcohol sales coming to Indiana. Is it a non-event? Is it like something that is so overdue people don't even care now that it's here? But, I don't think so. You just heard Dan Carden talking about it, that it just didn't really make any sense anymore to have no sales of alcohol on Sunday. Strachan Van Til had a lot of people in the beer and wine aisle at noon yesterday, and a lot of people in the checkout aisles trying to be one of the first people to buy liquor, and it was just kind of a jovial atmosphere. I was talking to a whole bunch of people that were just kind of hanging out and buying beer and so forth. Also, did anybody go to the gun show over the weekend in Lake County? As there was a protest for this, and let's see, I saw that in the paper, but it was a big protest at gun shows all over the place. As I was watching the news last night, the Channel 5 News, and they had a gun show out in DuPage County, and they showed one of the gun owners giving the finger to the protesters, and I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know if you get to see that. He was giving, and then he came back again to give him the finger again. So people are very, emotional on both sides of this. According to the Times, on Saturday morning, just outside the gates of the Lake County Fairgrounds, there were protesters there of the 2-day Central Indiana Gun Show that kicked off on Saturday morning. More than 100 people held signs that read things like, "For sale, Congress, give teachers funds, not guns," and while others tied orange ribbons with names of shooting victims to a fence. Protesters singled out the gun show as a contributor to the problems of guns trickling into Chicago and into the hands of criminals. Many, like lead organizer John Halstead, argued assault-style weapons like the AR-15 used in the Parkland shooter should not be so easily accessible to the general public. Let's see what else. Dan Hedger, owner of Central Indiana Gun Shows, said Saturday he follows all state and federal laws, including background check and paperwork requirements. He doesn't support banning AR-15s. Of course, Nicholas Cruz, the shooter in Parkland, bought his gun legally from a gun store, not a gun show, Hedgers added. And you know what? It just comes back. I told you guys that if we're going to have this many guns around and accept that and keep that as part of our American heritage, then we will ultimately have to come up with an acceptance that every once in a while someone's going to go berserk and grab an AR-15 or a similar, I don't even want to call it a gun. They're so high-powered, and they're just going to shoot up a bunch of people. That is the reality, and that's what we're seeing with this many high-powered semi-automatic weapons. Weapon's a better word. Around. And I'm not saying we should get rid of guns. Believe me, I'm not at all. I'm just saying the reality of what I see is that we're going to have to accept this, honestly, because that's the only outcome I see to having that many guns everywhere. Because there's people that go crazy. They just do. They snap. And, you know, with that easily accessible gun to kill a lot of people, that's what they're going to do. But anyways, that's just my analysis from the cheap seats from 30,000 feet. Did anybody see that The Shape of Water won last night in the Oscars? And did anybody see Frances McDormand have all the women stand up? A lot of women power going on right now, and rightfully so for all of the nasty things that have been going on in Hollywood for generations. Hey, let's take some phone calls, see how you guys are doing. Huh? There you go. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Caveman High School, class of 1980. I'm your parallel universe.
Talk to me.
Okay, I know the same guys you do, but I don't know you, Jim. Okay, because I never used to talk on the radio. I was very shy, but I'm a undertaker, but very good job on the basketball games. I'm used to. What happened to Chris Trikoff over here with our basketball? How come you guys aren't having anything at KM at high school anymore, like Mr. Hamnick said in his article? Where's Chris Trikoff?
You mean, why isn't there a sectional at Calumet?
Yes, correct.
You know, I don't know what the IHSA was thinking. I mean, Calumet, as a matter of fact, the Lake Central Gymnasium is very Calumet-like, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, they're cool people out there. That's my, I hung out with the Andrean crowd because I was a parochial schoolboy in Glen Park with Franciscan nuns, and I grew up with Three Dog Night Rick's stepkids, and then Ben Affleck's their stepbrother, and then I grew up with Deborah Harry, Blondie, and her mother, Blondie, at Straka Van Til. Your Party Central. Hey, thanks for representing the drunks. I commend you. Phi Sigma Kappa.
1980.
Purdue, Calumet. Yes, we were where MTV started, right, Jim?
You got it. Hey, man.
That's right, man. You know we're the rock and rollers right here, man, Mr. Wampum Lake. I heard stories about you. You hung out with Jim Jones, Professor Jones' son, man. He turned me on, man, in the 70s to his joint, man. You were there, man, in the now, man. I hung out with that crowd. So.
Calumet High School. Representing the right, Calumet High School class of 1980.
Yeah, Jim Marker. Hey, right here. Hey, Bridges. Hey. Don't mess with the Italians and the Spaniards over here, man. Okay, man. I'll see you later, man. You're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Talk to you. Thanks.
Joint. Okay,
Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Mark. 219-845-1100. Before we go on to the next one, Sam Michael, what are you doing today at 1 o'clock?
Doing a show.
What's up with that?
I don't know. We're going to figure it out on the fly, I think, maybe. No.
Sounds like you learned that from D'Lo.
Yeah, right. You do a little bit of everything. Look, not too much sports, though, because you see what happens when you talk too much about sports. Folks text in and call in and tell you to stop it.
That's just too bad. There's so many people that
sometimes in March.
There's so many naysayers that are like Baker over here. If I'm not ripping on Lake County politicians, he's not listening.
Hey, I'm just happy everybody's doing the best they can.
Oh, stop! Will you? It's all he wants is people to rip on Lake County politicians.
No,
all
I like
24/7.
I like ripping on you. I like ripping on IU. I mean, I like golf clapping about nice weather and people who do things well. I mean, that's not fair.
You are just sugarcoating that and not being real with that. Baker wants everyone ripping on Lake County politicians.
I want everybody to pay attention.
There you go. Hey, Sam Michael has been a recent graduate of Purdue Northwest and was the voice of basketball for us last week, all week long at Hammond. He followed the Hammond High Wildcats to their sectional championship at the Civic Center. What was that experience like, Sam?
It was a pretty good week of games. A little disappointing, unfortunately, for us. You're always hoping you did 5 games. You're hoping for 5 games where, like you had, with buzzer beaters at Lake Central and stuff like that. But even a lot of our sectional championships turned out to be that disappointment where you had all built up to a great game and then maybe you had the sectional championship earlier on in the week. And it was good basketball, though. And I think Hammond's got a chance to do something in the sectional. I can only comment on how well they play. And I don't know the opponents too much except for Calumet, obviously. So the other 2 teams we'll have to kind of figure out. But whoever's down there doing that 3A, we'll figure that out, too. I think Hammond's got a chance to do something. They just have to play smart. Usually a pretty good free throw shooting team can also hit from the outside. So I've liked them all year, and I think they can do some damage in the regional, too.
Sam is going to start a show today at 1 o'clock, and we're not really sure where it's going. I just kind of gave him the direction of when I wanted to start, and I wanted to get through high school sectionals. Then I want Sam to be on from 1 to 3 in the afternoon, and let's just see where it goes. So we're going to have some basically live radio from noon until 6 now. As Gino goes from noon until 1, Sam's going to go 1 to 3, and then Tony Ponick goes 3 to 4, and then Harlow goes from 4 to 6. So, Sam, it's just time to be taking the reins yourself,
If you say so.
I do say so. I do say so. We have...
He went to a class.
I went to a class. And then it came to me. No, we're getting closer to what I want to put together here, and it's just kind of just a general flow of young talent, emerging talent. Doesn't have to be young, emerging talent to come here to WJOB. We got a lot of Facebook Live only shows right now, all the way from iRays Radio to Shanti Wellness to Phil Potempa's show and a number of others. And I want to be kind of a farm system for emerging talent. And you're certainly that. And just no big pressure. Just hang out and talk on the radio for a while. And you'll see where it needs to go, put it that way.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, filled in for you a few times over the last 5-6 months. So I think just kind of a similar format. I mean, Harlow does kind of the same thing in the afternoon. Little mixture of everything, right? And that's what people want to hear. I don't like to force myself to talk about one thing specifically. And if you do that, obviously you take the topics you can talk about and you really minimize them. So just a little bit of everything. What's going on around here? Obviously what's going on in the White House is always something you could talk about. That's constant.
In the middle of the day, you can concentrate on the White House a little bit more because people are kind of used to that. They want local stuff in the morning and then in the evening. But in the middle of the day, they'll put up. So that's up to you. If you want to talk about that stuff, there's plenty to talk about, man.
There is.
We are blessed with stuff to talk about.
Is blessed the right word always? I don't know.
Yeah, we can't always use it. Hey, Sam Michael today at 1 o'clock. You guys will be able to hear him right after Gino. Thanks a lot, Sam. Billy Baker, how you doing, man?
Jimmy, nice to see you. Hey, before we start, just to Ryan and Sam and everybody, to use a preacherism, satchels on covering the sectionals. That's a lot of work. Everybody out there that enjoys that needs to, give a nod to these guys because it's not easy stuff.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
No, I didn't mention you.
I know. I mean, thank you for them. Thank you for Kuziak and the rest of the gang. But thanks to Community Healthcare, NIPSCO, and BP all stepped up in the final days there and made it so that it didn't come out of my pocket like it has in the past. So I appreciate all of that. Indiana high school basketball, it means a lot. You go, Baker, you've gone places and people, you say, oh, you're from Indiana. Oh, high school basketball. That's what they think of. They think of the movie Hoosiers. And I felt as if I felt in the last few years that interest was waning on it. So we took a big, broad step to bring it to everybody's phones. Let's see if it has any sort of lasting effect.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. I mean, it's changing. I mean, you've, I think, had a number of shows or comments as it pertains to AAU basketball and how things are different as opposed to back in the day or, back to when, Milan won. But, it's just about the kids, Jim, and having them go out and have a good time, isn't it? Hey, really put your phone away and turn it off. Too.
Man,
Mac's
going crazy. He wants to get on right now and talk about Sunday liquor sales.
Who cares?
What do you mean? Who cares? It's a big day. You can buy beer and wine
in the region.
Indiana.
That's not a big deal. I mean, you just go to Lansing. It's just another thing that it just proves that government is so far behind the times they don't get it.
Well, let's see if Mad Mac agrees with that. Mad Mac, you are on with Billy Baker. What's happening?
Yeah, I'm going to hang up. Click.
I think that makes a lot of people happy, though, Glad Mac. Be careful.
But it makes a lot of people sad,
That's
too, though.
true.
You know how
That's
that
right.
goes, brother.
There you go. Two sides of the coin.
No, I was just telling you, Deedlo, yeah, down in Texas, they do that goofy thing, and I think they do the same thing in Connecticut and another one of those idiotic East Coast states where, like, literally, if you go to a retail front, like your standard, goofy strip mall, there's a door on the right, and you walk in there, and there's beer all over the place. The door right on the left, and then the wall in between the stuff is literally like a papier-mâché wall. They sell liquor on the other side. But on Sunday, you can't be, the one side's closed for liquor. And if you want to buy beer, even though the same guy owns both stores, you got to walk into the one side and buy your 12-pack of Strohs. Then you walk on the other side and buy your.
I mean, see, that's government right there. I mean, really. I mean,
exactly.
what? I mean, really, this thing on Sunday, you can't buy hard liquor. You can only buy beer and wine.
That's down in Texas.
Oh, but they didn't do that here in Indiana, did they?
No, we're not that dumb. We'll probably put that in next year, though.
No, you can't buy cold beer and wine
on Sunday.
That makes that's a break. Okay, yeah. Listen, you kids come out in here and buy the beer. Give us your money. Now, we can't make it cold, though. Well, do you guys got, like, a refrigerator with it? Oh, we got freaking 8,000 cases of Bud Light here that's cold, but we're not going to sell it to you on Sunday just because we want to be stupid.
Ice and styrofoam containers. Remember drinking warm Strohs, Jimmy?
I'm sure while you guys were on your way to lure the gals at the beach with that 3-string guitar you had. Good Lord. Hey, Jimmy, where's the guitar? We got to pick up the girls. God almighty, those people. Holy moly. But listen, Jimmy, I called you to tell you, I looked at your videos a lot, man. Everything looked good. I mean, you guys did a great job on putting the basketball games on. Audio is good. Video is good. I looked at all the games a lot. I'm kind of bedridden. I got a little touch of the flu, which is had me on suicide watch on Saturday, but I'm off the ledge now, so.
So were you
tough, man? I never had it before. Well,
what this flu is really catching some people really nasty. So how long have you had it?
Well, I don't know. I could feel something in the back of my throat as I was taking off to go down to see my daughter down in Texas, and that went well. But whatever. I mean, it just just suck it up, get through it. That's the end of that. Although I will admit, on Friday night, Saturday, I had a little self-doubt because all of a sudden it dawned on me, God, if this is the flu, I'm thinking all of a sudden I go, people are dying from the flu. I'm like, oh my God, I might die here in my house. And I said, I got to get better quick, man. So I started pumping down as many over-the-counter stuff as possible.
Hey,
the last thing I'm dying from is a goddamn flu. That's for sure.
I think it's dehydration they're talking about. A lot of the people, so you're gonna have to liquidate on that. But thanks for watching the games and thanks for your comments on that. It was a lot of work, man. But the kids here really
everything looked good, dude. I mean, I'm telling you, I flipped around a whole bunch, and only one time did video compression screw up one of your games that only lasted for like about, maybe a second. You know what? The funny thing was, me and your dad, after we got done playing a game on Wednesday, he's standing there with the radio, and of course, he's Mr. 1920 in terms of technology. He's got the radio going, and I said, all of a sudden it dawns on me, like, hey, wait a minute, I can get it on my phone, I think. I think they're doing these on the phone. I can look it up. And I said, hey, Mr. Dino, let's watch this on my phone. He's like, no, I'd rather hear Jimmy do the game. I said, no, I think we can watch him and listen to him. And he looked at me like, are you from Mars or something? I go, no, I think we can get him on here. I pull it up and boom, there you go. But why is the audio about 8 to 10 seconds behind the video? Normally it's the other way around because of the amount of data you're putting through the pipeline,
Oh, you mean on the radio? Yeah.
Yeah, so if I'm watching Facebook Live, boom, the game ends. But if I'm listening on the radio at the exact same time, the radio is like 10 seconds behind the video on Facebook.
All right, hang up and I'll discuss that technology.
No,
all right, thanks
Good
a lot.
job, though, man. You guys did really well.
Thanks a lot. And I'll tell you why.
Wait, let me
Because
turn my mic off.
Because what we do is we just broadcast on Facebook Live, and then they play it in the studio here on Facebook Live. So we don't even really send it from there to here anymore. It just goes over Facebook Live. That's it. That's the end of the technology. So they're actually our connection to the studio also. I don't get it.
Can you figure out or can you explain the technology, since we're getting really down into the weeds, on why at the 58th minute of every hour you go off for 30 seconds? And why don't you just utilize that as a thing?
It's a Comcast
so
thing. And as a matter of fact, has that happened in a while?
It happens pretty much every day. But why wouldn't you use your marketing thing and say, hey, this pause is brought to you by the Veteran Show? I mean, and then, at least you utilize it because you're sure you're not doing anything to fix it.
Well, we doubled our Comcast internet, and that I thought would take care of that. In other words, we doubled our capacity and pay double the amount. And
oh, you paid the bill. I get it.
Yeah, we finally paid. No, we ordered more internet.
So much information into the pipe, but now I have to get a bigger pipe where it backs up.
Yeah. No, I think what it is, Bill.
Hey, nice
really,
zipper, by the way.
I think what it
Didn't
is.
You
hey, you asked me a question.
Stuff about my zipper sweater, and there you are with a zipper sweater.
Why do you think I wore it? Hey, I think what it is really. There's a serious infrastructure question here. My theory is that there is old infrastructure in Hammond. Comcast has not upgraded it since Julian Colby put it in the early 80s. And when it rains or it gets cold, the system is not, it's not new and it's old, and it can't handle all of the stress on that infrastructure.
The region has a lot of old infrastructure, not just telco. I mean, combined sewers.
Yeah.
My river world, man. I mean,
combined sewers are the worst.
Yeah, that's why stuff comes up people's basement. But, you're supposed to fix that as you move through along. And if everybody is, I guess, taking a strategic plan to get that completed.
You ever when it always amazed me when working as a laborer, I'd bring out the saw cutting machine and you had to go cut a road somewhere, like especially in Whiting or East Chicago or North Hammond, and you cut the road, and then the old timers would go, come over here and look at this. And then they would show you the road, and there's only so much rebar that needs to be in a road. Mm-hmm. And since they had so much steel around and back in the day, it's almost impossible to cut with the saw cutter with the diamond.
It wasn't because there was so much steel available. It was because who had the rebar contract?
Maybe that's. No, I never thought about it.
This is the region. I mean, guess who had the rebar contract? I mean, that's why there's
so much steel in some of these roads, man. You try to cut them with this like circular diamond tip blade, and you can't get to it. You get to the end, and you're like, who would put the steel is way more expensive than the concrete that you surround it with.
There's still big potholes.
Yes. No, I mean, you ever go over a pothole and then you see the rebar underneath it? I mean, it's really very thick, and that has held those roads in, and they haven't had to fix them and redo them. They just have to resurface them. But you're right, man. Now that I think about it, somebody had the rebar contract
Nothing to do with
in
steel.
1930. And you're like, God, why would they put this much in a road? Oh, there was a contract. All right, let's see how somebody from New York City is doing. Jeannie, how are you?
Good morning.
How was Madison Square Garden yesterday?
Well, it was a tragic loss, but we had a good time.
Jeannie went to see the Boilers and Purdue play, and did Compass set you up with some decent tickets or no?
Yeah, we had some great seats actually. I was pleasantly surprised. And you know, it was a great game. We went and we showed up, and there were just Michigan fans everywhere. There's a big Michigan presence on the East Coast, so it was definitely, I would say, a Michigan-dominated arena. But it was great to get out there and support Purdue and see them, make it far in a tournament. And unfortunately, I don't think they really showed up and played their best game, but we still had a good time.
On the radio, I was listening to the game on the radio, it sounded like a Michigan home game. Every time Michigan scored, there was so much cheering.
That's really what it felt like. It was like, 50 Michigan fans for every, one Purdue fan. That's what it felt like. I think that there are a lot of Michigan people here, Michigan fans. And they really showed up last night. So it really did. It felt like it might as well have been in Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor, Michigan. You almost went there, didn't you?
No. I was between Purdue and Wisconsin.
Oh, Purdue and Wisconsin. That's what it was. So, Mr. Baker's here. You want to say hi to Billy?
Hey, Jeannie.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. Hey, congratulations to you and your mom, because, your dad has a button-down on and a nice sweater, and aside from that, Ben, he looks a whole lot better than what I've been used to. So, thank you.
I'm sure we purchased the entire outfit.
But you know what? Just to show that he can still buck the trend, he put on his 1985 boots, so he's got that going for him.
You know what? These boots are
I love
very
these boots,
stylish.
and they're comfortable. Please don't take them off. Absolutely,
I just
don't
want to
take 'em
remember
off.
what the name of them are.
I mean, really?
They're
You just took them off?
bull boxers. Jeannie, tell
Oh,
Billy.
God,
how-
plug your nose.
The fungus. I mean, there's like that thing in the
Run for
cartoons
cover.
that's coming up.
bull boxers are well heeled in the fashion community. Anything else going on in New York City, Jeannie, we need to know about?
No, it looks like it's going to be a nice day outside. It's a Monday.
How was that nor'easter? I mean, did you guys get a bunch of snow? Everything I have to listen about? Because every time it snows on the East Coast, we have to listen to the national news like the world's ending.
Oh, gosh. You know what? I will say it was pretty awful. Just the wind. The wind was really bad, and it was sideways snowing. I pretty much hid out in my apartment for the entire time, but it was pretty ugly.
What was it more? Was it rain or was it snow or just a nasty?
I mean, nothing really stuck. It was just like a wet, heavy snow that kind of melted off right away. So it kind of, went from raining to snowing back and forth.
She's Jeannie Diedlow. She's hanging out in her apartment in New York City. Jeannie, update people on what you're doing there.
Well, I'm living in Queens currently. I'm in nursing school. I actually woke up early to study on this fine Monday morning to find out I'm out of coffee. It's a tragedy on a Monday morning. But yeah, I'm here. I'm in nursing school. I'm in my second semester of an accelerated nursing program. So by this time next year, I will hopefully be graduated on my way to becoming a registered nurse. Yeah, just enjoying my time here in Queens.
And before you come back to the region, right?
I'm making no promises.
All right.
What happened?
We will just not have that be part of the discussion. You've got family members that are listening, including your grandpa, who was very disappointed at the Michigan victory yesterday. What do you want to tell Grandpa?
Sorry for the loss, man. It was disappointing. We left, a few minutes early just to get out of there. It was just it was just a Michigan game through and through.
And then they celebrated on the television for like a half hour, 40 minutes. They just kept going on and on. I was just tired. It was hard to watch, man. All right, Jeannie, good to hear your voice. Thanks for calling in.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Talk to you. 219-845-1100. Billy Baker's here. Gino, how are you?
Good morning. Working on a half a cup of coffee. Ryan forced me to get on here, so it's not my fault if I stumble and mumble here a little bit. Good morning, Jack. Good morning, Billy.
Gino, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just a quick note for you. I didn't mean to barge in here. I'm going to have a special Crime Watch alert today on Region Bandstand, probably after the first break. A lot of things happening in Hammond and Munster and surrounding areas that people need to know about. Not everything is on Facebook. Not everything gets in the newspaper. Once again, turning a corner, trying to get a different feature in midday other than just music. So today, a special Crime Watch alert. I'm working in conjunction with Sergeant John Muta in Hammond and Officer Jimmy Greist in Munster, obtaining information from them, which I'll be presenting today on the program. The first time since the big natural gas alert out there that I put up. So anyway, back in the bunker today, live at noontime. Mostly music, but a special Crime Watch alert in one segment.
Gino, is there like some crime that we're not aware of, or that a special kind of crime that happens that you think doesn't get covered enough?
It is getting warm outside, and honestly, for the past 25 years, I've been monitoring the police scanner. And when the weather breaks, Jim, the bad guys come out, and that's what's happening right now. And a lot of things, again, a lot of people don't read Facebook. The 70, 80, 90-year-old people in my neighborhood who were viciously attacked last October were not on Facebook. A good many people dropped the subscription to the local paper because of the tremendous expense. And to those people, I want to present some worthy news articles, which I will in turn cut up on Adobe Audition and email to all of our Crime Watch members in this area and beyond. We've also got people listening in, obviously, Chicago Heights, South Holland, Calumet City, Lansing, who are part of our email tree. And we will get the word out about that, Jed.
All right, Gino, I look forward to it. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much for the time.
All right, Billy Baker's with us. Billy,
Jimmy?
let's take a short break, and then I'll be right back with you on the Voice and Face of the Region.
Men, are you taking Viagra or Cialis for ED? ED should not stand for expensive drugs. If you're taking Viagra, talk with your doctor about Sildenafil. Now you could get the same active ingredient in Viagra in generic 20-milligram tablets for less than $2 each, saving over $30 per dose. Available at Vito's Pharmacy. Call us 219-228-7200 or visit us at vitospharmacy.com.
Vito's Pharmacy.
Theo's Steak and Seafood sets the standard of fine dining excellence. Delicious USDA prime meats and steaks, along with the freshest seafood in the area. Celebrate your special event with friends, family, and associates in our private dining room that can seat up to 125 people. For information, call 838-8000 or theoshighland.com. Also visit our other restaurants, Prime Steakhouse, Umi Sushi and Lounge in Crown Point, and Ted's Family Restaurant in Calumet City.
Eduardo's Natural Pizza in Munster has built a reputation for serving the finest Chicago-style stuffed pizza, loaded with fresh and natural ingredients. Not interested in stuffed pizza? Eduardo's has the best thin crust pizza, appetizers, salads, pastas, and more. Pick up a half-baked pizza from Eduardo's to take home and bake at your convenience. It's the perfect solution for those hectic nights. Eduardo's is located at 7920 Calumet Avenue in Munster. Dine in or carry out by calling 836-2010.
Good morning, everybody. 7:40 in the Calumet region. What time is it? Time to go to Albert's. Hey, let's take a look at traffic. It's been a light morning. 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, a little bit of brake tapper at the merge. Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65 are all moved along pretty well. And traffic is brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda. And then in terms of the weather, high of 42 today, cloudy afternoon rain. Tuesday, high of 42, showers and rain and snow. And then by Wednesday, all of this moisture probably start around 6 o'clock tonight and off and on until maybe about noon on Wednesday. Then it clears out, just be cloudy. And then by Thursday and Friday, get some sun, but quite a bit colder. And weather this morning is brought to you by our good friends at BP, a huge sponsor of high school video of the tournament. And we appreciate BP stepping in along with Community Healthcare and NIPSCO. Billy Baker's here. Baker, what's going on, man?
So the Big Ten tournament, sectionals, quasi-spring, getting ready for another election season.
Beer sales on Sundays.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, as it relates to work, I mean, that's another thing. There was a thing in the paper yesterday. I don't know if you saw it. They do these inserts about progress in the region and why people are doing what they do. So,
and then I saw that we're projected by 2050 to lose about 3% of our population.
Right. So,
why is that?
And then there's another, part of the newspaper that talks about how everybody's moving in and how great it is. So, again, depending upon who owns the information, you could bend it all you want. So it's interesting. I mean, the one thing goes back to the day, and I like always saying this one, it's about the economy, stupid. And regardless of all the stuff that goes on, I think everybody has to look at it, at least in my opinion, on what's going on in the economy. Is there money coming in? Are people starting to have work to do? And everybody I talk to, which is not just here in the region, but there's a lot of money going into the economy, and people are putting, cash into the marketplace, which is a good thing. I mean, there's always going to be those cases of things closed, but that's the way supply and demand works. But it's going to be interesting because, now they're talking about, releasing some of the financial restrictions on banking that were put in place after the crash. I'm still angry about the fact that those banks were able to do what they did to cause that situation and nothing happened. And now we're going right back to the way it was. So I think there's a segment out there that realized that money really drives a lot of what happens in all aspects of our life. And, that's part of it. It's what you do with it, I guess, that kind of really boils down to it. And, I'm always been of the opinion the rising tide lifts all boats, but, it's easy to say, not so easy to do sometimes.
He's Billy Baker. Baker, I've seen this lately. I don't know where it's come across, but we're going to lose population by 2050 around here. That's distressing. I mean, you go down to Indianapolis, and the population just spreads and grows around there.
We're no longer going to be the second, most populated county in the state, and I'm surprised it's taken this long.
What's going to be second again?
Probably Hamilton. Hamilton is Carmel, and Fishers, north of Marion, where Indy is. So everybody with money moves out of Marion and moves into Hamilton. So, it's always been Marion, it's Lake, and then Allen, which is Fort Wayne.
Allen County. That's what I would have thought would have been Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Although Fort Wayne's kind of split on that metropolitan area. It's not all in one. I think they're split between two counties there. And
so, nobody around here, including some of the groups that I sit on, are going to like to hear it. But, central Indiana drives the state of Indiana as it relates to the economy. And, you could blame it on whatever, but
Republicans, downstate Republicans.
Yeah, it's always their fault. So, but, they're doing what needs to be done to make sure things happen and people move in. So there's a continual influx of, there's tech. That Salesforce group is downtown Indianapolis. They took over, the tallest skyscraper, if you call it that, in Indianapolis, and, have their name on that building. It's a place to go. And, you came down and saw when I was living there the 2 times, and it's been down there a bunch of times. It's a cool place. It's hard to knock Indianapolis. They do a good job. A lot of the national concept restaurateurs come to Indianapolis to test it out. And so they opened a lot of new restaurants down there just to see how the public will accept or reject it. And, there's stuff to do always. It's a cool place.
That's the one thing that I would just differ just a little bit with you. There's plenty of restaurants in the downtown area, and they have a lot of conventions. They get we were down, Alexis and I were down there when they had the Kiwanis convention.
Oh, yeah, did you hang out with the Kiwanis?
Ooh, that was a crowd that.
Is that where they bring the elks to now, and the moose, and the hairy buffaloes?
Yeah, the Kiwanis Club is great people, but put it this way: when we went down to the hotel bar to get a drink at 11:30, we were alone because all the Kiwani were already sleeping. But they get all these conventions, and they get big sports things that go on, but there's not a big sports thing going on there. What is there to do other than go out and eat and drink? I mean, I don't know. I hear that, there's so much to do, and then you're sitting there, you're like, well,
I mean,
what
you
am I
can say
supposed
that
to
about
do?
here, too. I mean, what is there to do? I mean, you can go to, eat and drink. I mean, that's a staple anywhere, but depends on what,
You can walk around Wicker Park.
I
You
mean,
walk around Wicker
yeah, you
Park.
could go walk around the canal. You can drive to the Eagle Creek and do all that nature stuff. I mean, there's plenty of that kind of thing. Shop, spend money. I don't know. Lay on the couch and watch the game. I mean, that's something you and I
I don't
default
have
to.
this rosy feeling about Indiana no place like you do. And to me, it's still just.
Well, it's all relative. I mean, you can't compare that to downtown Chicago or to New York. I mean, they're different, markets. I mean, it's a smaller. I mean, what is it, the 13th or 14th largest city? So, I mean, if you compare it to the 1, 2, or 3, yeah, I mean, it's not going to make sense. But compared to how about here? Plenty more going on.
Well, are we
here?
Are we Indiana or are we Chicago?
I don't know. Every time I look at my driver's license and my license plate.
Yeah, well, the folks downstate consider us part of Chicago.
No, they
media.
don't. They take our money. So,
but
we might think
just
we're part of Chicago.
culturally, we're more linked to Chicago and Chicago media and Chicago sports teams. But governmentally and legally, we are more linked to.
I mean, I can't go to a
Indianapolis.
restaurant, I don't think, in Indy or have much luck trying to find a place to get punchkis and pierogi. I mean, that's part of where we are. That's the flavor of this place.
That's a good point.
So
let's go to when we go to Indianapolis next time. I'm going to go on a pierogi hunt.
Pierogi hunt? Yeah.
Where can I get pierogies?
Just don't Facebook it. I heard the last one from this morning. I'm like, really? At least you had a good time, and that's all that remembers.
The Stragon Bateau was a lot of fun. You missed the point. Is that I got confused. I thought they had legalized marijuana for Sundays, and so I went out for Sunday sales.
You thought that was so funny, and that was good for you. I'm happy that you had a good time.
Oh, come on, man! I had all sorts of lines for it and stuff, and my wife's
yelling
like,
at people in the aisle not to touch.
"Don't touch it!" This woman came up with her kid. She was reaching for a 6-pack or a 12-pack of Corona, and I'm like, "You can't touch it till noon." She was okay, and she walked.
There's people listening that going, "That's just mean."
Yeah, it was a little bit mean, but it was a lot of it funny. Mulaney's sitting there going, "Why are you doing that?"
Because I can.
Because I can.
Yeah, well, see, that's part of the deal here in the region. Just because you can doesn't mean you always should.
He's Baker. Let's talk to some people. What do you guys got? If we said we had something planned for you, we'd be lying and you'd know it. Let's go to MX. MX, how are you?
Pretty good. Good morning, Billy. Good morning, Jed.
Hey, MX. Oh, thank you for sharing that one. That was just outstanding.
You couldn't have done that before you got on?
You know what? You guys talk about losing population.
I hope that's on tape.
In Lake County. And
get over
Could you see that thing just like spinning, just going across the room and like hitting the television?
God.
What's that on my computer dripping, right?
Just
hey,
go
come
forward.
On, let's be serious. Nobody
right.
takes me serious. Now listen, all right? You guys brought up a real interesting topic about people leaving Lake County. Ken wrote a good article yesterday. South Shore ridership plummets to 10-year low. We went from 4.2 million in 2007 to 3.4 million in 2017. And Jed, I wish you would have asked Dan Cardin, House Bill 1374 passed out a committee Thursday, and that is to get, since nobody supported Petey's train, they're just going to take and get a local seat at match. So, if you could write that down on your hand or on your desk, I know you can't write it on that chest, but next time Cardin calls, ask about House Bill 1374. Because, like I said, local mayors and towns and cities didn't support PD's seated match to go get a train. And if we're losing population, why are we building this train? Here's another thing, too, Jim.
No, hold on. You can't. Hold on a second. I got to take them one at a time. First of all, you said nobody takes me seriously. Why do you say that? We take you seriously.
Well, then I'm going to be nice to you then.
Okay, good.
I was going to burn you alive. Hey, here's what I got to say, Jed.
Just because we're losing population and we're losing ridership, is that the answer is to not do things that might attract population and ridership? Yeah. In other words, if we're going to lose let's take population. If we're going to lose population, and that's the projections here, should we not should we not build a train because we're going to lose population? I don't quite get that logic.
Well, they're losing jobs in Chicago, too. But here's the one you played on me. Remember, you said I'm just like Marcia and I don't say anything good about, I forgot who it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're just like Marcia because you never said one good word about Trump. And you know what? Trump has helped the steelworkers anonymous all the way because he kept his campaign promises. Day one, he got rid of Executive Order Trans-Pacific Partnership. See, trade laws won't work unless you lower the corporate tax. So we had the highest corporate tax in the world. We couldn't compete. Trump lowered the corporate tax from 38% to 21%. Now, these imports, it's about time. Trump is right. Let's have a war on tariffs. We've got to get in there.
Let's have a war on tariffs. All right,
What?
MX, you got a lot in there. Thanks for calling, buddy. I got to take some more. Thanks.
That one was on purpose.
I don't know what to do with that sound. I can't
It's
get
just
it
a
out of
great
my
sound.
head. Hey, Gloria, how are you? How you been?
Fine, thank you. You should be very happy now. Now you don't have to go so far to get your beer.
As opposed to planning ahead. Hey, Gloria.
That's why I called, so he could, now he can talk about something else.
You know what? I don't know why it took so long for us to figure out that we should just sell beer on the weekend. It doesn't make sense.
You mean us? You mean you?
Yeah, I like my beer on the Sunday once in a while, you know?
They never going to put it in the freezer.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not. You know why?
Why?
Because they have to have a separate thing because children might think that it's pop. And they would have to have a whole place for that beer to be separate.
Well, let me think about it. If you're walking around the grocery store and there's warm beer sitting in the aisle, what's the difference if it's in a freezer or if it's in the aisle? It's still out.
Look, when you go in there, they got a section for eggs, butter, cheese, all of that. But they would have to have a larger section for the beer. And that's more money. So when people buy beer in the grocery store, they can take it home and put it in their refrigerator because it'll be cheaper.
Do you buy a lot of eggs?
I beg your pardon?
Do you buy a lot of eggs? Do you eat a lot of eggs?
No, that's not the issue, Deplo.
No, it's not the issue. I disagree with you. I think that what they did it in stages. They said, all right, well, let's allow you to buy warm beer and wine in a grocery store. And then in a couple of years, they'll come back and say, well, what's the difference? Why not let them just sell it cold? Because people are complaining. You buy it and you got to wait 2 hours to make it cold then.
But when you buy eggs, you don't buy when you run out. You never run out of eggs and butter and milk. So therefore, if you're a beer drinker like you are and have a lot of company, you always got some beer in the garage. And when you see it's getting low, you put it in your refrigerator.
Yeah, but
if the grocery stores get it, they're going to have to buy more refrigerators to put that beer in, and it should cost a little bit more.
Yeah, but they'll make it up by selling it, and the state of Indiana will make it up because they'll get the tax money that was previously going to Illinois for cold beer.
Yeah, but the people in the grocery store, people who shop in the grocery store, stock up. The people who run on the weekend, that's a different situation. You see, the grocery business is the hardest business in the world, as far as that's concerned, and so they want to be economically feasible. So warm beer will be bought in the grocery stores, period. And for people that's out at night or something like that, want to go to get the cold beer, that's on them.
No, I would love to bet you on that. And I'm saying within 4 years they changed the law, and you can buy cold beer at Strack and Van Til's within 4 years.
Here's what we're going to do, Mr. Dietlow. You make the bet, and you tell Billy to put the money up in case I lose.
It took him a while, but I got it.
Wow.
I got it. I'll back you on this one, Gloria. No problem.
If I win, I lose. If I lose, I lose. I don't know whether to take that bet. You know, the reason I brought up eggs is that my wife, every time, she says, every time you go to the store, no matter what you're getting, always buy eggs. And I never remember that. And then it comes to be Sunday morning, and she's going to make my breakfast, and there's no eggs. So I got to run out to Strack and Van Til early in the morning. So
how is that the same? Eggs and butter and milk you should never run out of. And sugar and flour.
No, sugar we don't need any. What do you need sugar for?
Well, you can use, sometimes you need a little sugar for people like you so they can be a little sweeter.
I tell you, I'm a big fan of a little sugar, Gloria.
What do you put sugar on, Baker? What do you put sugar on?
It's not the same kind of sugar, D-Lo. Keep up.
Oh.
Sometimes it's going to make a cake, D-Lo.
Well, it's good to hear from you. I can't wait to rub it in your face when they start selling cold beer at Strack's, just so you know.
Don't forget. And another thing, eggs are cheap now because, Easter's coming up.
Eggs are cheap. And Easter is coming up, but my point is that I love eating eggs every morning. Right now, I'm going to go get a couple of eggs. And
you got eggs already cooked if you want to go that route.
No, hard-boiled eggs? Who eats those?
I do.
They're horrible.
Oh, man.
I'll eat a fried egg or a poached egg. Sam Michael eats them. Baker eats them.
They got a scrambled mixture. Look up on the rack.
Oh, yeah.
What's that mean?
They're pre-made, pre-scrambled, so you don't have to scramble them now.
What? I love scrambling the eggs.
It's all on Facebook Live, so don't worry about it.
Gloria, all right, I got a question for you. Do you put water in your scrambled eggs?
I don't cook. My daughter does everything.
Really?
Back in the day.
Back in the day when you had like 2 brown eyes instead of 1 brown and 1 blue.
I don't eat eggs every morning.
Why not?
I'm a variety breakfast person.
What's the other breakfast you have? You have oatmeal ever?
Sometimes I have raisin bran.
Do you put? Oh wait, hold on. I have a specific question for you. Do you put sugar on your raisin bran?
No, because sugar's in the raisins.
So you don't need more sweetness.
No, and when I drink my tea, I have honey. And when I drink my coffee, I got coffee mate.
So you don't really use sugar on that. So why did you need to buy it? I missed that part. All right, Gloria.
5 pounds of sugar in this house would last us a year.
Yeah. Well, you got to have it to make chocolate chip cookies and stuff. Well, hey, it's good to hear. I'm glad you engaged me. That means you're feeling better, and you sound really good.
Well, I feel very good now that I'm 91 years old.
Yeah. Well, you don't sound a bit over like 75. All right, good hearing from you, Gloria. Thanks for calling in.
Good day.
Talk to you. Hey, I went over to this place on Saturday and picked up some shrimp and lake perch, and it was amazing. Spike, how are you?
Hey, gentlemen, good hearing from you this morning. First of all, thanks for the opportunity. We had some new customers come in with the advertising on the basketball games. They heard us on the radio, so thanks for that opportunity. The reason why I called is I read that article also about the population in 2050. And, Bake, don't you think that we're getting landlocked here in Lake County?
Landlocked in what way?
Opportunities to build, vacant land.
Well, we have, interesting, Spike, but, obviously going south, plenty of corn fields to dig up, but I think the best thing we've got is the redevelopment on the north part of the county next to Lake Michigan. It's more expensive, and you have to deal with a whole nother level of government and restrictions. But there's places to go if people are provided the proper incentives to bring new jobs here. And it's new jobs and saving the jobs that we've got. I think landlocked, not like, we are more landlocked, I would agree, than Indianapolis. I mean, obviously, that's just Lake Michigan. So, but we have a huge redevelopment opportunity, I think, on the north part of the county.
The Loris Tree Farm over here, there's going to be a development with 590 homes going in.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking, everything is transitioning south, into Cedar Lake and Lowell and
Right.
Vermont. And, I'm a firm believer with that train. I think you'll see a population boom going south that way to get out of Illinois.
Well, and from a development standpoint, it's a lot easier to dig up a cornfield than it is to dig up old infrastructure.
There's no doubt about it.
So
But
there's
that
a
was my
dollar
only-
thing there, too. So, I mean, do you want to keep, doing the sprawl thing? And, that kind of feeds into the train. I agree with that. And more roads and more hard surface and more, man-made structures. Or do you kind of work with what we have and start doing some redevelopment? It's a great question.
Hey, you know what else is a great question is how do you make those shrimp so nice and fluffy? It's really good.
I'm here at 6 in the morning doing that, Jed, and if you believe that, I've got some land on the water you can build on.
Get out of here.
Let's get together
Bye.
for a libation, Bakes and Jed. Talk about the preacher or something one evening.
Giddy up.
We will. We'll do it. You
Bye.
got it. Spike's Lakeside Inn, the sponsor of the Lake Central section. Baker, thanks for dropping by. It goes like this.
It does. It's a lot of fun. Hey, everybody, remember, life's too short not to laugh more. Make it a great week.
All right, I'm sticking around till 9 today. I'm going to host the next show, I believe, the Sheriff's Show, and then I will be here for Dr. Mary Telek. So those of you who are already tired of hearing me, that's too bad.
Not only does Catering by Steve's cater for all occasions, Steve's in Hegewisch has expanded their all-you-can